Sure.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
As always, I will review the House board when speaking. Please move close to your microphone to ensure you are heard clearly for the YouTube streaming. And I request the citizens who speak to adjust the height and stand close to the microphone out there.
I can hardly hear you.
I'm sorry?
I can hardly hear you.
I'm on.
Closer.
Okay.
Can't get much closer.
Yes, you can.
There will be two opportunities for citizen comments. I will be requesting individuals stay within the 4 minutes in both citizen comment sections. Would appreciate everyone keeping their points concise. I would request that comments are made respectfully to the board. We're here to discuss the township's business. Citizen comments should pertain to specific issues, concerns, or policies they would like to bring to the board's attention. To respect everyone's time, I strongly urge the board not to respond to public comments, but address them in the board comments section. Sometimes this is difficult, but this is not a debating stage between citizens and board members. We have township business to conduct, and it's required to do so effectively. If there needs to be a follow-up from the board, I will direct the appropriate person to reach out to the individual. The documents on the website are aligned to the items on the agenda. These are draft documents to provide background information only. Just to be clear, motions were drafted to help the board more quickly get to the final wording and vote on the respective motions. The final motion may look different to reflect the actual action taken by the board. Our first item will be the approval of the minutes for the regular board meeting of March 21st, 2023. Board, any changes or comments?
I got one.
I'm still having trouble hearing you, Bob. I'm sorry.
It's
Well-
the heat thing's on too.
Well, no,
hang
it's
on.
not. I think, can we get another one?
Test.
Oh, thank you.
There
Is
you
that
go.
better?
Much better.
Now
Thank
you
you.
can stand away from it. Any changes?
Yeah, second page, number 9. I think Deborah's last name is spelled wrong. Is it supposed to be Albrecht? A-L? No? It's Obrecht? Okay, then I don't have a correction.
All right, Sharon?
I would like to say on second page also, D2, A. If you look at B, C, and D, they represent the name of what that resolution is for. Such as B, it says road, C, et cetera, et cetera. There's nothing in A that says general fund. So I would suggest representing the second line, representing a reallocation of general budget funds.
Where do you want to put that, Sharon?
Right behind reallocation of general budget funds. There's nothing, nowhere in that sentence that says anything about general fund.
All right,
And then on F, last page, it's just a typo. It's just a typo. Agenda with an A. My eyes caught it.
Pay attention to the way that printed.
Yeah.
So that we can tell our Xerox guy, because it almost ran off the bottom and that it's got that blue band up at the top.
Well,
the
you
whole-
can, you'll
The whole
be,
thing is.
yep, you'll be here too,
Well,
hopefully.
All right.
I want to remember, so.
do we have any
That's
other
my only
changes?
comments on
All
that.
right. All right, hearing that, then I will make the motion to approve the March 21st, 2023 regular board meeting minutes with changes. Is there a second?
No, second.
Thanks, Jason. It is moved and seconded to approve the regular board meeting of March 21, 2023 with changes. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, board. Next item is correspondence and announcements. Kathy, do we have anything?
I have nothing this evening.
All right. so I don't get ahead of myself. Next item is approval of the agenda. Any changes? If not, then I have one.
Okay.
Under new business, item number 5, which is the motion to approve the 2023-2024 pay schedule. There's an adjustment we have to make. However, that adjustment needs to be made first in order to allow us to do motions number 1 and 2 in the schedule. So I would like to make item number 5, move that to item 1 and move everything down by 1. And I'll try to keep it straight as we go through it. Any
Makes
questions?
sense. Makes sense.
All right. If there's no other changes, then I'll make the motion that the agenda be accepted with changes. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Sharon. It is moved and seconded that the agenda is accepted with changes. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? All right. Moving on, we'll start with the citizen comment.
I have comment cards from Angie and David. Would either of you like to speak now, or do you want to wait till the end of the meeting? We have 2 times for citizen comment. Okay. All right, David. And pronounce your last name for me. Flaten.
microphone.
That's what I thought. Okay. Now it's quiet.
You have to get close to the microphone and speak loudly in the microphone. Thank you.
Couple questions on your road work for Old Mission Estates. It's hot asphalt, right? It's gonna be spread,
Yes.
okay? Will it be capped the following year or the year after?
That I'm not sure. I can talk to Bert about that.
And then is there an assessment to the homeowner or the property owners, or is that all been covered?
That will be covered
It's
by
all covered now
the road fund, yes.
by the road funds?
Mhm.
Okay. And then on the work for 2023, you have a column called base rate that includes estimates. The word estimate, what is the estimate? Or is that applicable to the column over Cook ballpark estimate?
Right, so,
So that has nothing to do with Old Mission Estates. In other
well,
words,
it does, it ties to those roads. But I'll get through that when we go through the meeting, so I can explain all of the page to you.
But I think you answered my question. I was wondering about the assessment, any property.
Nope,
Okay.
You pay taxes.
that's right.
Yeah, I understand that too. Thank you.
All right.
And so now we have Angie. Hi.
Nice to meet you, Bob.
Hi, Angie.
Hi, Jason. Hi, everybody.
Give your name and everything at the,
My name is Angie Rott, and I'm at 13078 Shawnee Trail. I'm here at Potawatomi on this paper, but it's actually Shawnee. Potawatomi, I think, is north of here on a different road. And I just wanted to support the pavement effort that we want to do in Old Mission Estates. And I think everybody would really appreciate that. And I think it's just the best thing for everybody all around. I know that we just moved there last year, and just since our move, we've just seen it grow. And there's kids and there's people walking their dogs. And I just think it would be a great asset to everybody there and to Torch Lake Township. So that's all I have to say.
All right, thank you. Anyone else?
No cards, but anyone else? It's okay.
That's
You
all right.
can still speak.
Come on up.
My name is Deborah Kinney, and I'm at 311 Cherokee Trail. And I'm a new full-time resident. My house is in the process, and hopefully I'll be in there very soon, working on it for about a year. But I'm right on the corner of Shawnee and Cherokee. And so I get all of that traffic that comes around the corner, and they come to get their mail and drop their trash off and all that. And I love it. I love having the people around and the, kind of life in that area, but all the people coming out of that back area drive through there as well. So we get a lot of traffic through there. And so I'm here to support the efforts that are being talked about right now to do any kind of paving. I think that would be very helpful. And then I understand that the road district is going to be coming through and doing ditches, not just on the outside like we have right now, but also on the inside. I think I'm the only property on the inside that actually has a ditch. And so I have culverts and support that they would come in through there and really ditch out that inside good and get the water running. Because right now the ditch on the outside is stagnant and it's just sitting there, and we're growing lots of mosquito babies.
Sure.
So, anyway, I don't know if any fogging can happen, but that would be wonderful. But at least with the paving, that'll get us one way, just up the ladder a little bit.
Well, it'll clean up the air for sure in the summertime.
Yes, thank you.
Yep.
Appreciate it.
I like
Bumps
mine
in the
fog
winter.
too.
What's that?
I would love mine fog too. No,
And that's
no.
Old Mission Estates.
Old
Oh,
Mission
yeah.
Estates, yes. And, this last winter, and I understand it wasn't one of the worst winters, but I lost a front wheel bearing out of one of my vehicles because of the roads, and have some issues with my shocks on my newer car. So anyway, it would really help.
All right, ma'am, thank you.
Thanks, Deb.
There aren't any others? Then we'll move on. Consent agenda. Anyone wish to pull any of the reports? I do not. Alan? Nothing out of the consent agenda? All right, Jason?
I do.
All right, which
Um,
one?
Treasurer.
Okay,
I'm not sure. Where's it at? It's the backside here. The treasurer's report. I made a mistake, and I will confess to it.
Write it down, please.
The report just shows the 1 year instead of 1 month. The totals on the end is accurate, but it's just the date that's wrong at the top. So it's rather than a year than a month. So I put in there 3/1 of 22 instead of 23. If you can look at the top of that report. I printed a new one for Kathy for the audit, for her files, for when she files her reports away. So nobody probably even caught that, did they?
Just as I was looking at it, I noticed that it was 22 to 23, and I wondered if you meant it to be that way.
But the numbers, the end balances for 3/31 for the report is accurate. It's just at the debits and credits for the year instead of month. That's all I have on that one. Thank
all
you.
right,
Sorry,
that's fine.
never happened before.
So I will, by consent, approve all the other reports, and then I will ask a motion to accept the treasurer's report.
I
Go
will make that motion.
All right, I will second it. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? All right.
Hang on a second, okay?
Let me know when you're ready.
Yep, yep.
I printed you a copy, Kathy, for your packet, but I
All right, Bob, thank you.
don't know
All
where
right.
where I put it.
Special reports. Jason, Planning Commission.
Yeah, I believe we finally finished our sign ordinance. Actually, I thought we were going to be talking about that at this meeting.
Now, they have to go to the county first
Oh, yeah.
and get their approval, and then it'll come to the board.
So we've been working on a sign ordinance for quite a while, and we finally got it finished. Hallelujah. So on to the next project.
Good, all right. Kathy, I know you've got some updates on FOIA.
I do. I had a FOIA come in Friday afternoon at about 4:15. Made me happy. and then another one today. So we have 2 open FOIA requests. And both are from attorneys about pending lawsuits. So I think I reported last time, the Open the Books report that we get every year, the FOIA request, is one that I can do in about 15 minutes. So that one came in and went right back out again as complete. So 2 open FOIA requests right now.
All right.
Is there a time limit on that? What's the time limit on that?
Well, the first time limit is that I have to respond to them as to whether we can agree to, whether we grant their request, deny their request, or give them a partial response. I have to do that within the first 5 days, and if we can't do it in 5 days, we can request 10 more days. But based on what they're requesting, I can respond to them right now. And then you have to give them
I'm just looking for a date.
a date to be completed, a realistic date to be completed with what they're requesting.
I think the date that I'm asking is just when do they have to have the notice? Your first notice, 5 days.
Within 5
Okay.
days or 15, depends on if
Okay.
I ask. Yep. But people misunderstand that. That's just telling them whether we can give them what they're asking for
I
or not.
understand
It's
that.
not, we don't have to have it ready in 5 days.
Oh, I understand
Yeah,
that.
okay.
All right. Financial overview. As I've indicated in the past, any questions regarding the financials can be directed either to myself or the clerk's office. At the end of March, which is the end of our fiscal year, we were favorable to the budget by $273,000. General fund was favorable by $137,000 due to lower expenses, and that came about almost on every of the cost centers. The road fund had higher revenue of $300,000, but that was because we did not put a budget in since we had to go for the millage. The fire fund was about $90,000 favorable as the second payment of ARPA money went into the fund. And the ambulance fund was unfavorable by roughly $260,000, and that was because of the ambulance costs of $311,000. It was offset by lower labor costs in the ambulance group. We currently have approximately $2.5 million in cash, which is lower than at the beginning of the year, but that was because of the ambulance purchase. And special thanks to Sharon. She is investing our money appropriately. We earned $4,125 for 1 month of interest income. And based on where the rates are and what the Fed may or may not do, we could see that number for a number of months, which would be a nice kick to the fund. So kudos, Sharon.
Thank you.
All right, moving on. Board action, we have no old business and we have new business. So laying it out, item number 5 is now item number 1. As an update, as you will look at the schedule that is attached in your packets, we had to add an item which we missed. We hadn't had it, we didn't have to have it for a while. It was the on-call paramedic, which is the thing that we developed last year. And we didn't have the rate of $26 in there. So we needed to put that in so that then we can do items 2 and 3. So any discussion on the addition?
That was voted on back in December of last year,
Right.
right? So I have no questions.
All right. Any questions? Alan?
Just a second, I'm
Yep.
looking for, it was in here. I guess I'm okay.
It's
I know what
item
you're doing, I just wanted to double check it. Go ahead. It's all
It was
right.
voted on already, but it just
Yeah, I
wasn't on the
understand,
schedule.
Sharon.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's number 5, Alan.
Okay, thank you.
So board,
Yeah, okay.
while you're looking, Alan, the question for the board, just a little housekeeping. Do you want me to do the presentation on a single page or front and back?
Single page.
single page? Because
board?
before, yeah, for the board package for you guys. Because in the past, you didn't want to use up all the paper, but I see you struggling trying to find stuff, so,
Well, things get front and back that don't belong together.
well, they tend to.
And then, well,
For
it
the
makes
board,
it hard to
perhaps.
file reports and so
I'll,
forth.
I'll do the single page.
Yay.
All right, so do I have a motion for,
I make the motion to adjust, the revision of the pay schedule sheet.
I'll second that.
all right? Motion has been moved and seconded to approve the revised Torch Lake Township pay schedule for the addition of the on-call paramedic at a rate of $26 per hour. Any question on the motion? Hearing none. Kathy, would you do a roll call vote, please?
I will. Mr. Martell,
Yes,
Mr. Cook,
Yes.
myself, yes, Mr. Merchant,
Yes.
and Ms. Schultz.
Yes.
That motion is approved 5-0.
All right, thank you. All right, item number 2, which was your item number 1. Mike Bertram has recommended the hiring of Christopher McLaughlin as an on-call paramedic. You have the application. I don't know if you have any questions. Mike was going to provide some background. He's got a TAA meeting tonight. Ted was going to help, and Ted is not feeling well. So unless there is any questions specific to these folks,
Look like they got quite a bit of experience, so.
yep. And
Him
one-
and his wife did come into the office. We met them. They did a tour of the building. They did a tour of the whole ambulance section. He does one day a month up at Beaver Island. So he knows, he's familiar between there and here. His wife, they're expecting their first child, and I heard she was having labor pains today. So that's the last I heard.
All right. If there's nothing else, I'll take a motion on this matter.
I'll make that motion.
All right, is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, the motion has been made and moved to approve the hiring of Christopher McLaughlin as a part-time, as a on-call paramedic for the Torch Lake Township Ambulance. Any discussion on the motion? If there is none, Kathy, would you have a roll call vote, please?
can I
I
ask
will.
one
Whoops.
question? On the application, it says that he has a Bachelor of Science from Grand Valley, but it didn't check yes. Did you know that if he does? Just like caught my interest.
Yes,
because
he
it was in
probably
li-
didn't check it.
It was in
He
life
just didn't say
sciences.
yes.
He didn't check any of the checks on the 1, 2, 3, 4s either.
He didn't do the elementary either.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Mr. Martell,
Yes,
Ms. Schultz,
Yes.
Mr. Merchant,
Yes.
myself, yes, and Mr. Cook.
Yes.
That motion is approved 5-0.
All right, the second person they brought forward is Brittany Sofa, I think is.
Sofa.
Sofa, as an on-call paramedic. Again, they were going to provide some background. I think the application is fully sufficient. I would be willing to take a motion on Brittany.
I was just going to comment,
All right,
make a comment. Brittany was a past employee, and her employment in the past was from May 12th through March 19th. She left us at that time to pursue her paramedic level. So she went on to get her degree, her paramedic level at that time. So on her application, I think it's just not remembering when she was here exactly. So, but I did go back in the payroll and find out that, and I had called Mike to remind me why she left, but it was because of pursuing of her next level of licensure. And then she went on to work, and then she decided to come back. So that's my
All right.
only comment.
do we have a motion?
I will make that motion.
All right, Motion to approve the hiring of Brittany Sofa as an on-call paramedic at $26 per hour, effective April 30th, 2023, or upon completion of all appropriate background checks are completed by TLT's ambulance director. Motion is moved and seconded. Any
I
further
don't have a
discussion?
second.
I seconded.
Bob
didn't-
second.
I didn't hear it, sorry.
That's all right. If there's no further discussion, Kathy will need a roll call vote.
Okay, I'll start that off with a yes. Mr. Merchant?
Yes.
Ms. Schultz?
Yes.
Mr. Martell?
Yes,
Mr. Cook?
Yes,
Here is spelling.
all right.
Thank you. That motion is approved 5-0.
All right, next item, which is your number 4 now, it used to be number 3. As per the email in your packet, Dave Egelberg is interested in joining the Day Park Committee. He worked at the park last year as an attendant and will do so again this year. I think it would be great addition to the committee. Is there any discussion on this?
I would recommend him. I may make the motion to add Dave Eckelbrecht to the Township Park Committee. And you have it as a 3-year term. Is that how
Right.
that? Okay,
For a 3-year term beginning in April 26th,
okay,
because we're having a meeting Thursday and I'd like him to be able to attend.
okay.
All right, so it's been moved and seconded to nominate Dave Eckelbrook.
I didn't catch a second.
I-
You made the
I'll second
motion.
it.
I made
I'll
the motion,
second
but I
it.
had one other comment to go along with that
Well,
prior to that. I'm sorry. How many are on the committee now?
I think we have 4. I think we have Rita, Virginia, Bob, and Sheila Ward. Right, right. And this would be number 5.
Okay, I was just curious. I couldn't remember. Okay, thank you. Sorry.
We had Jason on at one time. We had Bill on there at one time.
And probably Alan Davidson too. And
No, we haven't had Alan. It might have been way before that.
Yeah,
Might
I
have been
think it-
when Alan
I
was
think it was
involved.
before that then. Okay, thank you. I'm sorry to be out of line.
That's fine. It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion on the motion? If not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Did you want a bulk roll call on that or?
No,
Okay,
no, not for the day
Okay.
part. All right. To the main event. 5th item. Well, that's why everyone's here. Bert Thompson has submitted his projected costs. You all have that as part of your package. If you will remember, during the budget process, I highlighted Old Mission Estate and Barnes Road as an area that we needed to consider seriously. We've had a discussion regarding Barnes Road, where the county is not going to have any funds available for 5 years. And so we can't get any help from them. So those 2 areas are the main drivers here. Stone Circle is going to be, have a new coat of limestone, I believe, crushed limestone that Bert said should give us 3 or 4 years. Lore is the road we share with Banks Township, and this repair is our portion of the road, and I'll have to work with Banks to take care of the balance of the road.
For which road, I'm sorry?
Lord.
Lore. So everything's at the top. The Cook Ballpark estimate was what Bert and I were doing when we drove around. So as you can see, we weren't that far off considering the amount of work we're going to do, roughly 3 miles. The base estimate, the base rate, we just didn't know what that rate was going to be for a road that's currently dirt, but the fact that when we drove it, Bert was pretty satisfied that it had a very good base to start with. So there's not a lot of work they see that they're going to have to do. So our original number that we dealt with was 500,500, which is what we had discussed during the budgeting process. The new number is coming in at 546,000. And if you look at the cash flow analysis, which is down below, the 261 is what we're starting the fiscal year with. Tax collection is estimated at 333,000. That might change based on the new assessments. Antrim County, the share of the revenue for Torch Lake is 19,000. The expenses are 546. So right now I'm estimating we'll have a carry forward balance of $68,300. Next year, we will have a lot of road work done that will be chip and seal. And because of the fact that we're getting in early and getting our work done, that will be tacked on to everything else, Bert figures we'll see a lower cost per mile than the estimate I've got in there. But right now, the estimate that's there increases the current rate, which was like 34,000 by 10%. So I'm taking into account some inflation for that, but because of the bulk of work, we might be able to get a lower rate. So any discussion regarding the 23 road plan?
I just want, oops, I'm sorry.
Just to if I understand, we'll have a carry forward of roughly $68,000
Yeah.
after we've paid for this. And then we start in the spring on this chip and seal. We'll only have $68,000 till when?
Till
December?
December.
So is Bert going to go along with that?
Well, we'll borrow like we did last year. We'll
Borrow.
borrow from the general fund
Borrow.
and pay it back in December.
Okay, good enough.
And you know, it's the same issue here with this year. All the work's done in the spring and the summer, and we don't get paid until December. So we'll have money in the general fund. Sharon has a stroke when I do this, but you know, I can't help it that we don't collect the taxes earlier and we have to do the work. Any other questions?
I just wanted clarification. So the number at the bottom of your column in the middle, the 68,433, is in reference to those first 4 roads up above, Old Mission, Stone Circle, Lower, and
No.
Barnes?
Where are you looking?
I'm looking at this number.
Well, that number is for the chip and seal in 2026.
Okay, oh, okay, so that's that. All right, I'm just trying to read your chart here.
Yeah, so if you go across, I mean, based on
Okay,
what Bert and I did, the 24, 25, and 26 roads were Bert's best estimate of what needed to be done and when. And so then we went through and we priced this stuff out, and then I ran it across where it says the cash flow analysis. So I've got inflation built into the base rate, and then I've got inflation built into our tax collection. And for the out years, I have no idea what the county's going to give us, but they never give us a whole lot of
No.
money. So
Very little.
so at the end of 25, 26, I'm looking at roughly $230,000 going into phase 2 of our 10-year plan, which is a great start because the chip and seal is only going to be good for 5 to 7 years. And we're going to now have to do the heavy lifting for those roads. So we got to build up the fund so we're not having to borrow the money to do it. And we have to do it on a timely basis or it just gets worse and it costs more.
I want to support Old Mission Estates. I live inside the gate at Yellow Birch and, or Patty's Pond, I'm sorry, you're Yellow. In 77, when I came here, there were 2 houses in Old Mission Estates. And there was 1 house on my property. So we've grown a lot. We're now up to 14 houses and families on my property. And many more in Old Mission Estates. So we've seen the rough and tear on the road. You know, in front of us there, we have the same experience on our road because of the kind of winter we had with the freezing and thawing, and not that consistent pack on there. But it'll be a wonderful addition for us as well, for that road to be paved, for all our owners in there, in Patty's Pond.
Any other discussion?
Yes.
You can hardly wait.
Apparently, yeah.
It's simple. When are they anticipating to start and complete? Do they give
No,
you any?
No,
Okay.
no. Bert, I didn't get Bert's numbers until 4:00 today.
I know. I didn't see this until just now. So we didn't get these. I don't know how you got it before I did. I don't understand that, but
Hey, I look out for our citizens.
I'm not bored.
The one thing I wanted to mention also in Old Mission Estates, that drainage system was all designed. When I first came there, it was working very well. And it's just grown up, and they might have to lower some of those culverts under your driveways just to make it the grade so it goes out to the lake. But it worked very, very well. It even does a right-hand 90-degree turn, 2 90-degree turns to get to the lake. And it worked well, but it's overgrown and it needs to be taken care of and maintained. And they say that in their proposal, that indeed will be included.
I think we'll have a lot of people watching the work.
Oh, yeah. The drainage by my house looks pretty good to a point, but if there's cleaning and I know it's very hard for county people to do this. It's hard to maintain on a timely basis. If that was done, that drainage system that's been there for years would work very well.
They have a lot of miles. I think it's
Is there a
800.
pond through there?
I'm sorry.
Is there a pond through there?
Ponds?
A pond? Any ponds?
Lakes, you mean?
Yeah,
No.
streams.
Just a big swamp.
In the back.
That's what it all is a swamp.
But that goes out,
Lake
In the
Michigan.
back. Yeah,
And it flows down.
right.
It brings a lot with it, so.
The reason I say that is the lakes and the streams along the way here, we've got a lot of beaver damage going on right now, terribly. So I didn't know if any of that water is backing up for anything of that nature. So, did Bert give you a 1, 2, 3, or 4, or which she's going to start any order? Or
Sharon, I
Okay.
got the numbers at 4:00.
I'm just wondering.
No, he was working the numbers up. I have no idea. It could be the end of the summer because he's got all the other county roads. I don't know where it fits in his schedule.
I thought maybe you were in
Asked which one
close
might be
contact.
first, which road might be first. And
The
No,
answer is I have
No.
no idea.
just curious. Well, that's the highest priced one, put it that way.
I think-
It's higher priced all the way down. It's
I
probably
think
in
he
the order.
probably picked the most expensive one to start.
Yeah.
with. All right, well, I'm going to make the motion to approve the proposed 2023 road work plan as proposed by the Antrim County Road Commission. Do I have a second?
I'll
I'll
second it.
second it.
All right.
I'll give it to Ellen.
All right, it's
I'll
been
give it
moved
to
and
both of you.
seconded to approve the proposed 2023 road work plan as proposed by the Antrim County Road Commission. Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, Kathy, I need a roll call vote on
Yes, sir.
this.
Ms. Schultz,
Yes.
Mr. Martell,
Yes,
Mr. Cook,
Yep,
myself, yes, and Mr. Merchant.
Yes.
So that proposed motion is approved 5-0. Wow.
yes,
I was
yes,
going to say,
ma'am.
now you want to all go home, don't you?
No, you gotta stay for the whole meeting.
Thank you for coming
Come and
out.
check my blood pressure later.
All righty.
Did you think we weren't going to approve it?
Well, I wasn't sure what to expect. I wasn't sure what to expect.
You think we were gonna make you have to chip in and work, put some hours in?
I wouldn't mind, I don't care, but, because I know Ann, who's my neighbor, and Jason, your realtor.
Didn't I just talk about deer hunting at the village market?
We, we've got it.
Oh my gosh, are you serious?
We got a meeting here.
We're kind of in
We-
recess here for
we
a
got a
second,
meeting
Just
but
for a
that's
second.
good.
Oh, it's,
It was nice to meet you.
Yeah.
it's
All right,
fine.
thanks, guys.
It's fine.
All right,
We
board,
can't
next
talk to
item
our citizens. Good grief.
is item 6, which is truly 6.
Oh,
The Day Park Committee has been working on splitting the original ordinance into 2 pieces. And that also was somewhat recommended by Sarah, because it's really 2 different entities. And so I'm presenting 2 of them. Number 6 is the Day Park ordinance, I believe.
yes.
Yep. And it's essentially the same thing. There were some minor modifications, but it's pretty much what it was before. It's just creating its own ordinance at this point. But I'm open to questions and I'll do the best I can to answer them.
I pulled the original 2020-01
Yep.
and compared it word by word by word. It's pretty much the same, other than a few tweaks here and there. I do have, are we talking about the first?
Yeah, we're talking about,
Let's see, one of them I had just a typo type of thing. That's on the second one. So,
all right.
um,
What we did was, the Day Park Committee members went through and they cleaned up some of the language,
mhm,
some of the verbiage.
mhm,
Rita did her thing with grammar.
mhm.
And then we sent it to Sarah. Sarah accepted most of them, had a couple minor changes. And so you're getting the finished product of their work.
Yeah, I highlighted and went page by page. So, yeah,
Yep.
just,
Well, wait a minute. Oh, I guess I did have a question on page 4,
Okay?
and it's
4.
under section 1-4, the penalty. That first paragraph, it says, let's see. Although the employees park, blah, blah, may request violators to cease smoking immediately. Civil infractions may be cited only by persons authorized to do so. Is that our OEO?
OEO.
Is he the only one?
He's the only one that can issue an infraction.
Okay, so OEO, which is what I thought it was probably going to be, but.
Yeah, but I don't want to put that specific
No,
in
okay.
there
No.
because if the position is vacant,
right.
then I'm going to have to appoint somebody.
Okay,
And I don't want to have to go back
okay.
and change this.
I guess I was just getting my head straight that that
Yeah.
would be one of his responsibilities, so.
Can the cops issue anything like that or no?
Well, the police can issue it, yeah.
They can, but it was the sheriff's position before that they really didn't want to leave smoking.
I mean, now, if we had somebody that gave Bob a hard time, we'll dial 911.
Gotcha.
And we'll get him help. All right, well, will someone make a motion for?
Can I ask some questions?
Oh, sure.
You see, again, I like the idea very much. In the rewrite, we don't have park activities from 10 to 8, but we do allow boats to go in early. The early fishermen,
Yeah,
is that,
but this is just the park, so now you'll have to worry about the boat when we do the boat ordinance.
Which is the
okay,
next
all
one.
right then, all right, so that's coming.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's next one,
that's
yeah.
number 7.
All right then, how did I miss that? Hang on. I read them all. I did read it, I got notes all over it. Okay, thank you. All right, yes, no problem.
All right,
Go ahead.
so would someone make a motion for me?
We need a roll call vote on this too then?
Yes,
Okay,
yeah.
Well, let's have
It's
a
a, it's a
motion
police
first.
power ordinance that's going to
Mhm.
require publication in the
Right.
paper.
because there's no lines on here. I just want, we needed to add those lines in the bottom. As follows, that's fine.
Okay, I'll make the motion to approve the Police Power Day Park Ordinance, Police Power Number 2023-01,
You want to finish reading through that?
effective 30 days after its publication or publication of a summary thereof in a newspaper in general circulation within Torch Lake Township.
I will second it. It's been moved and seconded to approve the Police Power Day Park Ordinance 2023-01, effective 30 days after its publication or publication of a summary thereof in a newspaper in general circulation within Torch Lake Township. Any question on the motion? Hearing none, then Kathy, a roll call vote,
I do
please.
have a roll call sitting here. Mr. Cook, you're first.
Yes?
Myself, yes. Mr. Merchant,
Yes.
Ms. Schultz.
Yes.
And Mr. Martell.
Yes.
And that motion passes 5-0.
It's coming.
That's coming on. Do you have the master to this, Bob?
I do. I have a Word doc.
I always like to put it in my computer.
That's fine.
And then on here,
And
we're
me
gonna have
as
to draw
well.
lines in the bottom with the roll call vote of people's names on here.
All right.
In that blank space there.
I can add that.
And then if you could, I keep it in my file. Thank you.
Yep. We'll get that signed. We'll get it off to the paper then. All right.
If I look at how we published this the first time, way back, in terms of, we don't want the whole thing to
Right.
go
It
in the
was,
newspaper,
it's a summary. That's why we
Yeah.
said,
or summary thereof, right?
yeah,
So I'll look and see how it was published the last
Yep.
time. Probably use the same words.
Well, not quite, because there's
Well,
two
you
separate
know.
ones here.
All right, the
second
last
one
item.
Didn't exist.
Kath, tell me when you're ready.
I'm ready. I'm
All
just
right.
chatting.
Number 7 is just the follow through on the boat launch portion. So Alan, you said you had some questions, so let's start with you.
I'm a little confused with regard to, you've changed the fees for the commercial users, or the procedure anyways. How do the commercial users verify that they're only launching Torch Lake Township boats?
Well, the commercial users are by agreement. So if you'll remember, we charge them differently. So at this point, the letters that are going to go out for commercial users, if they have a barge, which is causing the most damage at the launch, that's going to be $1,000. The regular launching of boats within our size is $500. And we're raising the rate for non-property owners from $10 to $20.
Well, it says, okay, that's good, but it says here, commercial users will not be required to pay any annual fee if launching only Torch Lake Township boats.
That is correct because of the marina there in Torch Lake Village there. We said they didn't have to pay a fee because they were only launching Torch Lake Township boats.
Okay, and we're just assuming the others are launching more than Torch Lake Township, other people's boats.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I got a phone call actually from the Andersons down there at A to Z Boat. And that was their question because they basically are telling me they're not launching anything but Torch Lake Township people. And they said most of their launches are on the bay. So they were wondering if they were going to be able to avoid it because we've given that consideration to someone else. I said, yeah, if you're not going to do it, but I said, we'll have it so logged that if you show up and you have a trailer without the tag on it, you're going to get a letter that says you're going to owe us $500 because they got to have the Torch Lake Township citizen tag on the trailer in order to launch it as a resident.
No, I understand that, but say a commercial user launches a boat from Milton Township and they run down the lake and put it at their place for the summer. How would we know that?
If we don't, we're going to do the best we can with the cameras. But it's not fine-tuned enough, Alan, to pick up that sticker on the trailer. If we don't have an attendant down there, then, they're using that ramp now left and right. And it can't really be policed sufficiently
I
at this
experience a
time.
lot of shenanigans from
Well,
these people.
trust me, it hasn't changed from
Okay.
your time.
Um,
We're doing the best we can, and, the $20 is basically for the folks that are coming up between Memorial Day and Labor Day, and they're not residents, and they're coming in and putting their boat in. So
Okay,
Right.
it's a tough one, I know it
it
is.
is. It's
Yep.
not,
Did the park committee consider I had the word a minute ago. Let's say this is my cabin. I don't live here all summer, but I come up every weekend and do boating and so forth.
Your
Um,
property
What's
owner.
the one you call for the season, a seasonal pass? Did they talk about seasonal passes?
no, we, if the person is a property owner,
They're freebie, yes.
so if they're coming up and they're not a property owner, and they haul up their boat, they're going to pay $20 every time they go in.
Okay.
And I think that's important that if their guest comes up and they launch with their boat and their boat trailer, they don't have a tag on it. So they're gonna pay $20. Follow me? They're coming up to that little cabin that somebody here owns with their own boat and trailer, and they're gonna launch.
Yeah,
So they're gonna have to pay
yeah,
$20.
yeah.
It would not apply to the owner of the cabin.
I had a question on that too, because I can remember in the past, them talking about property owners, and I put parentheses here, renters. There's a lot of people that rent for the season. They're not the property owners, but they're renting. I remember that from the past, so.
The question would be, are they putting the boat in and using the dock so that they're only putting it in and bringing it out once, they're only paying $20? How do you make those
Right,
exceptions
right.
with
I'm
our
just saying,
attendants?
Because the attendants, I can remember saying, I'm a renter, I live here year round. I don't own property because you're not going to find my name on that tax roll book, but I rent the house for the year. So that was biggie. So,
Well,
and they're
we're
not on the
gonna-
water, they're
we're
in
not
and
gonna
out, in
try
and
to-
out. But,
We're not going to try to address that.
right.
I'll bet you, what are we catching? Alan, you have 8 years of experience on this thing. Are you catching maybe 40% of the boats that go in and out?
We're fine on all that. I do have a typo, not a typo, but a word
All right.
smitten thing here.
Where?
Let's go, this isn't numbered by the page in the bottom, so at the top, it says Township Property Owners Fees and Other Requirements page.
That's page 2.
Okay. Throughout this whole revision compared to the original one, we took out a lot of the word that was called facilities. So, such as number 4, right in the middle there, it says boat size is unreasonable for ramp. Everything's ramp. Throughout this is identified as ramp. But let's go down to commercial users, number 2, toward the bottom.
Mhm.
And it says permits reasonable for the facility. Here's the word facility in there. It should be ramp.
All right.
The facility word was removed in the original throughout, and it was all in this section as being ramp. There's only one spot that it got missed saying ramp.
Okay,
Okay?
got it. Anything else? Mr. Hawkins,
I know it's out of order
it is out of order.
right now, so, but I want to catch this before it goes. so I can
Yep,
make an exception.
yes,
Okay. Number 4, at the top, talking about,
same page?
same page.
Yeah.
First section, the upper section, number 4, going to the bottom. You're speaking about a commercial operation, no charge for launching township resident boats. But in the very last sentence, it says oversized boats may be launched with a commercial agreement, except those which may be unreasonable for the ramp. I believe what we talked about was if it's a boat that exceeds the regular size and weight limits of it, that the resident, instead of just having a red sticker, would have to come in and buy the township resident oversized boat sticker, and then they could launch it without any additional.
True.
I think that's in the chart
That is in the chart.
on the last page.
That is in the chart. So I verified that.
Because the Andersons only have one boat. They got a 33-foot boat. So if he goes out and gets the $100 and the Andersons, and he's the Torch Lake Township person, he pays that fee, then Andersons can launch it. The $100. The owner of the boat.
Right, the owner of the boat has to pay it, and the sticker, the black sticker has
Yep.
to be on its trailer.
Right.
Otherwise, without that, they can only launch that boat if they come in and pay $500.
Correct. And in this particular case, in the Andersons' case, they have to use their own trailer. The individual that has the 33-footer doesn't have a trailer for it. So I told him he's got to come in, get a sticker, and then he's got to give it to Danny so that when Danny comes in, he shows that, in fact, it's been, because I don't want it going on Danny's trailer. Okay. You got that?
Mhm.
So when
I didn't even know there were stickers. Do I need one for my boat?
Yes.
Jeez,
We've been doing stickers since 2000.
I've been launching that thing like crazy. I ain't got no sticker.
All right, so anyway, if there's no other comment, then I'm going to make the motion to approve the police power boat launch ordinance 2023-02, effective 30 days after its publication or publication of a summary thereof in a newspaper in the general circulation within Torch Lake Township with stated changes.
I'll second.
Could I ask Bob, one question?
Now's the time.
Is
With
it okay if I
regard-
can get a second for this first, and then
We
we can
did.
discuss the
Merchant.
I
motion?
second.
There you
Merchant.
go.
Merchant?
I did.
All right.
We, in this ordinance, a number of places
Alan?
where I think people can get tickets.
Ellen?
Lean into your mic.
There's a number of places in this ordinance where people can get tickets. If you go up to somebody who has violated something at the day park, the only way you can give them a ticket is if they identify themselves in some way. What do you do if they don't? Okay, so that works.
Punch him out.
I was told don't challenge them, walk up in an agreeable way, you contact them, and if they resist or become belligerent or aggressive, they say just break off the contact and call us.
And that ticket is paid for here, Sharon?
Is that what?
That ticket is paid for here,
The ordinance ticket?
the ordinance ticket?
That's a civil infraction.
it's-
It'll go through the 86th District Court.
Oh,
It's not our ticket, it's the court, it's the Antrim County ticket?
Go ahead, Bob, because you're doing it.
They are civil infraction tickets. It's like if you get a parking ticket downstate. So what I generally put on there is payable at the township within 24 hours. If you don't pay that within 24 hours, then the ticket gets sent over to the court.
Do we accept money then here?
Mhm.
So if it's on a Saturday, can we put it in the box at the entrance?
Mhm.
And that would count as the 2 days?
Yeah,
Okay, if we ever, do we have a line item for that as an income somewhere?
Yeah, if you look at,
yeah, there is.
in the budget, if you look down underneath the revenue, there's revenue
Oh, yeah.
under for the park, boat and park, and it's called fees
So
and
those are fees,
fines.
not, okay. When I read that, I didn't see ticket, my mind didn't read tickets.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Bob?
Yes. Oh,
Walken?
This ordinance entitles us or gives us the authority to levy that fine and accept payment ourselves.
Yep.
And then failing that, remedy would be
But
If
there
we go
has been
longer,
times,
We would collect the money ourselves instead of giving it to Antrim County.
but there has been times where they see it on the ticket, 86 District Court, and it's gone over there. So there is some confusion at times.
That's why I started putting a separate note spelling that out. Spelling the procedure, payable to the township.
Should we redo the tickets?
Were there many, Bob? Excuse me, I'm sorry,
Yeah,
Bob.
I've written a lot of them.
Well, that would be, and so they're worth what, $100?
Some are 500.
It might be worth for us to hang on to that somehow. But-
We can't, for the, I think the ones that are they're written down here where the fire lane is, I don't think
Right.
we can take that.
No.
So it has to go.
Mhm,
Yeah, because it's a fire lane.
mhm.
But for the municipal investment,
I mean, we've got the smoking, we have is jumping off the pier considered a violation?
well, technically, yes.
Um,
Are all these ordinances posted, will be posted down there?
Yeah.
They're posted.
And I think you just give them a warning in advance if they don't know.
Well, something to bring up maybe at the day park about, we might be able to, garner some of that money back if we're talking, sounds like we're talking a few $1,000s anyways.
Well, Ellen, you have to remember, Alan, we have maybe 1 or 2 attendants at a time. And how much of the enforcement when in fact they're concentrating on the road to try to keep that safe.
Yeah.
And the boat launches and the kayak launches, their hands are pretty full. It's not like we've got 3 or 4 people wandering around the park.
I understand that, but it just seems that if you're writing the ticket anyways, instead of giving them 2 days, if we gave them 5 days or 10 days or a week to pay the ticket here, we
To
might
get
be
the
able to
money,
pick up some of that revenue instead of, if it's a $500 fine, we're sending it to the county, I don't like that.
Well, not many of the 500, the fire lane violations are 500.
Yeah, that's a county road though, that's theirs, yeah.
The ones down here, the parking violations and anything that was written inside the park.
Yep.
As you'll see, in the ordinance spells out, first offense is like $100. But the only other, the other key in that ordinance is that they can get towed if there's a vehicle involved in that parking lot over there, you can have the vehicle towed as well.
Okay,
At owner's expense, correct?
At owner's expense.
yeah.
And that's, I'm very reticent to do that as an absolute last resort. I mean, like to give tickets. Right. I try to get compliance rather than punishment.
Sure, sure.
All right, thanks, Bob. No, that's fine.
That's the time for discussion.
So we have motion, it's been seconded,
Yes,
we've had discussion.
yes.
So Kathy, we need a roll call vote.
All righty, I'm first this time. I say yes. Mr. Merchant,
Yes.
Ms. Schultz,
Yes,
Mr. Martell,
Yes,
and Mr. Cook.
Yes.
So that motion is approved 5-0.
All right, board, that.
and that will go in the paper too,
I will
correct?
look at getting both of those into the newspaper.
So that concludes the new business portion. We've got a couple of items for board discussion. You were given on the first item, you were given a chart along with the contract behind it. If you have done the math, we're currently at 4,600. They're going to leave us at 4,600 for at least the next couple of months, and then it jumps to 66. And then by the time 2025 comes, it's 13,000, which is a 290% increase from our current rate. I've had a number of emails with them. Personally, I think that they're trying to get rid of the small guy and just focus on the big guy because two reasons. One is the marketplace per seat is $80, they said. And we're getting charged roughly $27. And so what they're trying to do is to get us up to an $80 level, which in my mind, we're not an $80 customer. We're the fluff that, when the big guys aren't calling in, they're picking us up and doing our work. But at this particular junction, we don't have an alternative. Now, what they have agreed to is that we can sign a 3-year contract with a 90-day out. And they also have a 90-day out. And so, I don't have right at this point an alternative. And we basically have, and this is more discussion, so we're not voting on it. I'm trying to get a feel for the board as I know what my strategy would be, and most of you probably are thinking along the same lines, but I'm going to have to make a decision at the next board meeting. So it's something you guys, need to think about. They've given us a courtesy of a couple of months. So I told them we'd have a board meeting so I could discuss it with you, outline the fact that they're hammering us. The one email said that they were trying to make up for the inflation over the last 8 years. And when I did the calculation of what the CPI is, we're about even at this rate at 4,300. Now, we originally signed the contract in 2012 for roughly $2,600 a year. And we basically have 14 computers that are tied into this, and that's how they charge us. That's what they call seat. One way of looking at it is, hey, IT Right has done a great job for us. I don't think anybody's got a complaint on them. But it's a big chunk. Now, does it break the bank for us? No. But it's a big chunk, so I need you guys to think about it. And when I bring it forward to the board, I'll have a proposal one way or the other, and we can kick it around and see what you want to do. But I needed to bring it to your attention and give you some time to think about it.
But you're saying there's nobody else out there right now that we're aware of?
I'm just saying there's no discussions being taken place at this point.
But there are other companies.
There are other
Okay.
companies, but there's no discussion at this point, and I have a short window. So,
I got a question.
Yeah.
Who deals with the IT right most out of all of us?
it's going to be mostly our staff on the inside with the computers.
So then I guess I would just reach out to you people that use it the
Yeah.
most, I guess, to
Well,
see how you feel.
There's no complaints. I mean, in the service that we're getting at the price we're paying, right?
Well, yeah,
is
that
good
sounds
service.
reasonable, but 13,000 in a couple of
It's a
years,
big
that's
number.
crazy.
It's a big number. And,
The original IT Right was bought out,
yeah.
and this is the new company here.
Oh,
So it's
new
IT
company,
Right
new
is-
turn.
VC3, yeah.
IT Right is sold out to this VC3.
Okay.
Look, it's pretty simple. I mean, you sit back and you listen to it. These guys, they bought the company. I have no idea what they paid per seat, but they saw they're getting, IT Rights charging
Right.
$27. The market's 80. Why aren't you pushing to 80? So I get the game. I mean, it's a sourcing game and it's contract negotiations, but we just, again, no decision tonight. It's just something to think about. I'll take any emails with your thoughts and we'll go on from there.
Well, we're surrounded by, some pretty active townships. If we go into Grand Traverse County, they've got help in some way. I think we should look around for somebody else. My only concern about changing is the transition. That the transition is made in such a way that everything fits and we fit into it. I think $80 is too much for what we use. But when we've needed IT Right, they were phenomenal. And
When they were the IT Right.
So, yeah, well, again, if they're gonna box us in because we need it, maybe we have to do this for 90 days with them and we can quit. If we have to, we find somebody else.
That's an approach.
Yeah.
All right, item number 2 goes back to a discussion we had. Again, this is board discussion. It's not up for a vote. We had a discussion around the restaurant down the street and what we can do about dangerous buildings. I had a discussion, I called Mike Haynes out of the Antrim County. He's in construction code, yeah.
Building department.
And we talked about the green building. He said, hey, they will come out and look at the building and inspect it if there's a complaint about it. And he knows that building. He said that there was a permit pulled some time ago to improve the electrical wiring, but he was in the car. He was supposed to get back to me and tell me if they actually ever did the work or not. He did say that for a township, they should have an ordinance associated with dangerous buildings. So what I did was I had a discussion with Todd earlier because he has told me that he's dealt with this in other townships on the other side of Traverse City. So this is his work. I've sent a copy of it off to Mike. He wanted to look at it. He wanted to make sure that the statutes that are identified are the appropriate statutes, and that the building code that will be followed will be the county's building code, which he says follows the state requirements. So it's for you guys to read through it, and by the time we get to the next meeting, I'll have a couple more discussions with Mike, and we'll see what the right approach for us is. But from what I'm gathering from the various townships, more and more of them are getting the dangerous building type ordinance in place so they can take action. It's a lot easier if you have an ordinance.
My only concern when I read through it was that when we step into somebody's property in some way to condemn it or to inspect it or something like that, it's a very serious step. And it seems to me that I went through the appeal process here, and it seems to me that this board should make that final decision. Well, ZBA is mentioned in here, but no other committee. That's a very important step that we're doing to a citizen to say, your building's going down, or you gotta fix it, or you gotta put it up, you gotta do something with it,
Well,
or you can't live in it.
Well, that ultimately is the board that does it, but we then can have them go to the ZBA, and the purpose for that is they can then appeal the decision to the circuit court. If the board has the final decision, they can't appeal. So
Well, we
you
could
got to
put-
incorporate the ZBA into this.
No, but we could put that in the ordinance.
Well, anyway,
Because I think you're gonna compromise the ZBA if you do this. I think you're gonna compromise the ZBA when you do this. Their job is to take care of zoning. And if you now get them involved in people's property rights, I think we're getting into something that really gets kind of shady. Again, I think we can put in our ordinance that they could appeal to circuit court. But I do think that when we say yay or nay to a property, it ought to be us that does it. We say yes or no. That's what we're elected to do.
all right, so if you would, with your copy, if you would make your pencil changes, and if you want, I can send you the Word document so that you could do a red line.
Well, I'll write that's the only area in here that I was concerned about is that appeal process.
That's fine,
Again,
but
somehow that should come to us.
I'd like to see what you'd suggest as the writing would be.
Well,
Well, don't give it to me now.
okay.
I'll send you the document. You give us a red line back. That way
No, I'm
we
not
can
gonna
all
get-
see it.
I'm not gonna redline anything. What I'm gonna say is I'm gonna give you an alternate way of taking a look at this process of
All right,
deciding.
write it out then.
Yeah, I'll write it out.
All right? So that, any other comments?
So is this inspector, like, he's just gonna assess this, like, from the outside, or where they,
Well,
these people aren't gonna let these people in, or?
by the sounds of it, the approach, because again, this was written about a week and a half ago. And so Mike hasn't seen it, but what Mike told me is that if we file a complaint on a building, he will conduct the investigation and he will have the power of the sheriff to help him. So some of that, from what I've learned from Mike, might make some items in here change, but the idea is to tell you folks that we're moving forward on it like you asked me to do, and we'll have another product for the next board meeting. And so whatever your suggestions are, Alan, just send them to me in a written form so I can work with Todd and with Mike. All right? All right? All right,
I have a little question on the bottom of page 3,
yeah,
under section 8. The part that's highlighted says within 30 days of the ZBA's decision.
yeah,
Shouldn't that be the hearing officer's decision?
no,
We're taking the appeal to the zoning board of appeals within 30 days of the zoning board of appeals decision. It doesn't
yeah, okay.
jive. But that's just a.
Well, the
little-
red line, or the red lettering, I threw that in there because
okay.
I wanted to make sure that they appealed the ZBA's decision to the circuit court within 30 days.
Decision.
Because they're appealing or this decision is going to the zoning board, and then there's another 30 days. But I'll work on the wording.
All right,
That's fine.
okay.
That's
okay.
why I sent it to you guys.
It was just a little something, something.
No, that's fine. I've got it highlighted. All right, so last one is the boat ramp. I've had 2 conversations. I have had 45th Parallel Marina out to look at our boat launch. And they are the ones that did the Elk Rapids Marina, that boat launch. Pretty well respected in the area. Kevin gave me the lead on that. And I met yesterday with an engineering firm that was recommended by 45th Parallel, Gosselin and Zubek. Anybody know?
Oh, absolutely.
They're
We work
good?
with them all the time.
They're good folks?
Absolutely.
Okay, so they came out yesterday morning and looked at it. And basically what our approach is, I don't want to do a 5-year fix. I want to fix this thing and fix it right. In addition, we've got to do something for kayak launching. We have a lot of confusion, a lot of commotion and dangerous situations with boats and kayakers and paddleboard people. And there's just not enough room because they can only go down the ramp. And by the time, you get mid-season, that ramp is covered with a lot of stuff that makes it pretty slippery and dangerous for people. So the idea is if you go down, you got the boat ramp as you're looking down at the water, and then you have roughly 35 feet to the left of it. That's got a lot of rocks in it. The idea here would be to expand the boat ramp because it's pretty tight at this point, and make a separate area for the kayak launch. So you would clean that area out, reuse the rocks wherever we can, and make it a sandy area so that people then, you could organize it in such a way that you send a boat down to launch, and as soon as that boat starts to launch the boat, the kayaker can go next to it, drop off their kayaks on a sandy beach, and then leave, and then the boat leaves. And you're going to have to try to figure out a solution to the traffic, because at the busy times, the kayakers are trying to get down there and trying to cut in there, and it's a mess. So what Gosselin is going to do, the engineers are going to do a draft, and they're going to get it to 45th Parallel so that we get an idea of the cost of what it could potentially cost. Now, in the budget, we have 65,000 as an item that the board has approved for the boat launch fix. My suspicion is it's going to be north of that. But the idea is we can sit around and talk about it and whatever, but until we get an idea of what we can and can't do and how much it's going to be, it doesn't do us any good. So these guys are going to do that for us. They're going to give us an estimate. Then the question becomes, board, are we satisfied with who those vendors are? Because we can make an exception in our policy as far as having to go out and do bids. Or if necessary, we'll have Kathy put in the paper and we'll do 2 separate requests for bids on both the engineering side and then the construction side.
In my mind, the major roadblock is going to be Eagle.
Well,
Last time we repaired it, they wanted, we could not change a thing.
what Gosselin told, part of what Gosselin does is they handle all the paperwork to the state. The guy told me, he said, number one, he said, currently the state is looking for soft shores, not hard shores. So he said he felt Eagle would be very happy if we were going to clean that one section up, make it a sandy beach and remove all the stones. What he said is we could take the stones and run them on the north side of the kayak launch to protect the sand because it would help set up a barrier. So he said, you can start moving that. Now, when you look at that area, you've got the rocks out there and you've got that old lumber, the timber that's there. That stuff would get removed out and it would make that area a little more accessible. The other idea is to put a barrier between the boat launch and the kayak. So 20 feet out, 25 feet out into the water so that there's a clear area that's kayak and it's a clear area for the boat and you can minimize the congestion at the shore. So those are the things that they're going to look at and put together and then bring it forward.
You're saying Gosling and Gubrath will get the Eagle permits?
They will do all the work. We're not going to have to do anything except finance it.
Write the check.
Yeah. Yes.
I know all those engineers also have people in their staff that do grant writing too. Did they mention anything about that?
And they said, you don't want to do that. And
Okay,
the reason for it is that the minute you get grant money, the fine line language that comes, you almost have to accept anything and everything that they come up with in the future as it relates to the shoreline or the use, or
Okay.
who can use it or whatever. They said if you can finance it yourself and not take grant money, then it's yours and you control it and you manage it.
When I went and I reviewed the money that the state gave us from, what's the fund? We had a number of exceptions in there with regard to the agreement. They said all of these are out. They accepted none of those agreements, none of the things that would be something that would give us a little leeway in terms of running that park. They wiped those right off the agreement. If you
Yep.
wanted the money, this is what you get. Go through the file, you'll find it.
I understand that.
But that,
Yep.
but that's what I get. Again, I almost, before I left supervisor, was going to write to all 1,200 plus townships in this state and tell them, don't accept any of that money. Period. It's, all they want to do is flash that we got another boat ramp in the state for it. They don't talk about how they maintain it.
Well, now to be honest, we applied for that Spark grant.
Mhm.
We applied for the day park. We asked for 145,000. Well, they have a ranking of scales 1 through 10, 10 being you don't have a chance in hell of getting anything. Well, we were number 10, very strong.
Oh, yeah.
So,
They didn't
even if
issue
there's
very
grant
many of
money
them
up
anyway.
there, I don't see it now. Again, I've checked with John Roth, and John has indicated that he's fairly confident we're
Yeah.
going to get the 950,000 that he put in for us. That's split up three ways: 400 for a fire truck, 300 for a new ambulance, and 250 for the day park and the boat launch. So we're not going to make any decisions now. You can't do construction until September. We can't shut that launch down for the summer. So we have time to work through this. We have time to see if we get the extra funds. And depending on the language for those funds, because I don't think it's a grant. I think it's just kind of a government, here it is type check.
Right, it's.
It's got to
part of
be
the ARPA.
used for what
It's
they
part of the
say it
ARPA
is. It's like
Nature, natural, yeah.
So that's the progress so far. That's where I'm at. I wanted to give you an update, and I'll know more once those guys get me some documents. And with that, board comment. Ellen, you want to start tonight? Jason?
I don't know if it's the right time to say it or not, but I'm just a little concerned about our cemetery. I've been driving by there and there was no fall cleanup or spring cleanup has been done yet. Do we know, is that guy, is he doing okay? Is he healthy?
No, he's not doing it. Alan Davidson is doing it, so we would need to check with Alan Davidson.
We'll talk. We'll reach out to Alan.
Okay.
And that's good, though. I'm glad you're watching it. Because I don't go up by that way, so I don't.
I go
see
there
what's
quite a
wrong.
bit, and of course,
Yeah.
that's what I do for a living, so every time I see a leaf in someone's yard, but it
Do you
hasn't
have a
been,
contract proposal for the board?
well, that's, that was another thing. I know most cemeteries do take contracts, so
Are you?
I don't want to step on anybody's toes.
Well, I mean, Alan is busy.
Well, I seen him, he was cleaning the South Fire Barn there the other day, and
Well,
he's all by himself.
He's got all kinds of jobs. My understanding, he's got a list, what, of 22 items or something?
He loves doing the cemetery is what he told me, him and his wife. So I think between you and Bob, if you want to talk to Alan, that's where it lies. He's our maintenance.
We may
person.
not want to.
Again, I just was questioning, I know,
Yeah.
I mean, it's, again, hasn't been anything touched since
I
August.
reached out to Jerry LeBeau and he's not, but he said he will be under the auspice of Alan Davidson. If he needed any backup, he would be willing to come, but his family won't let him work by himself out there, but he will help clean up or whatever if he's asked to help. But otherwise, Jerry LeBeau is done.
Okay.
What about the day park? Because Alan's doing everything. So.
Well, that's
he
what I
does
was-
This around here.
That's what I'm thinking, if he kept it central, then maybe outsourced something over there, but.
What
Let
he last
let me
told me,
talk
he
to
said
him.
when he worked, him and Wendy worked at the cemetery, he said he loved working there because nobody talked back at him.
Yeah, that's his.
But that's a big
punchline.
job. I mean, I look at it, and I have a full crew, and it's like, I know what it would take for us to get it done, so.
All right. No, that's fine. Sharon?
Yes, I have two things. Speaking of which, in your packet, you've seen the Antrim County Bulletin from the Sheriff's Department, or for the county. And on here, it says Sheriff's receives award from VFW Post, Traverse City. I am going to pull up a text here. And speaking of Alan Davidson, I know he's a very humble man. He won't, I know it's not on the fire department report because he's a very humble man. Wendy, I've been asking him, because this award went out back in February, and I've been asking him, because I got it on one of the dispatchers sent the ceremony to me, and I've got a picture. It's Kevin and Alan Davidson. This is the award he won. And it's for the award of the VFW selects emergency medical technicians, law enforcement, and firefighter personnel to receive the VFW Public Servants Award. Alan would not, he's very humble. He does not want to make a recognition for himself, And when I begged his wife for this, she says that they couldn't be here tonight because I asked them, because I told them that I was going to bring this up. And in recognition of this award, it says we have a family commitment in Central Lake tonight. It's just not who we are through either of our careers. We have never done it for the recognition. It is not who we are, but thank you when I asked them. I would like to read this for the board, for the public. And I know that they'll probably be watching on YouTube. Alan?
Hi.
The recognition says, Captain Alan Davidson. In special recognition and highest praise for alertness, personal courage, and the efficient guardianship of life and property. This award is given to Captain Alan Davidson. And I know that I would like to just thank him for this award.
What VFW hall is it?
It's in, it's in Traverse City.
Oh, so
Yeah,
is
Veterans
this like,
Park.
like firefighters from all over?
He's,
They were selecting people from any in the area. Sheriff Dan Dean was there, got the award.
Okay.
Alan got an award, and the young lieutenant on Metro, got.
they're the only ones from Antrim County that got the awards.
That's pretty cool.
That's
Yeah.
neat.
Yeah.
So,
And Alan had to forgive me for submitting his name.
yeah, but we do have a nice picture of him and he's got a plaque. So thank you, Alan. I know you're going to be watching YouTube.
Sounds like the wife's in the doghouse now too.
They're special people. My second comment I was going to make is just a reminder that on May 27th, the Antrim County Petoskey Stone Festival, and it's welcome to everybody and anybody, and it's at Barnes Park, and that's just a reminder. We love the festival. Thank you.
Yep. Kathy?
I have nothing tonight. Thank you.
All right. I have an update. Sharon is heading up the redoing of the Torch Lake Township website, and Chris Nye has come in, and his estimate was $1,200, which was lower than anybody else. And he, as I mentioned the last time, he did the day park. And if you go out and look at the day park, it's a pretty nice site. So any ideas should be forwarded to Sharon. She has mentioned to me a number of times things that she would like to see on it and how it should look. So she's in charge. So that's mine. With that, I'll make the motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded,
All those in favor? Oh, citizen comment.
8:30.
How should I have missed that?
Whoops, take that off of there.
You were so quiet, I didn't even know you were here.
You went to board comment before citizen comment. Well, thank you, Thomas.
Oh, yeah.
Tom Peterson, 12232 Yelta Road, Keewaydin. Barnes Road is a county road. They don't have the money, but we're footing the money, so why can't they repay this in the future? Because that is a county road.
I understand
Like
that.
that for the last 10 years and haven't done squat to it.
I understand that.
Second of all, who decides whose building is dangerous? And then, because you have the building department, if somebody calls it in, like you just mentioned, they can check the structural of it, and if it's a health problem, you call the health department. And what is it that people don't have any right on their own property, what they're doing? And on another note, I thought that you can't put a sign on one individual or one, in this case, building, and then make an ordinance against it. If it's not an ordinance now, well, how can you make an ordinance because of the green building up These are questions I have. And I think Alan made a good point. People's rights are being violated. And what gives this township the right to do all this? I don't think it's right or fair to people.
Thanks, Tom. All right. I'll make the motion now to adjourn.
8:35.
Sharon's- Meeting's adjourned.
I'll second.